Hi, everyone. For this week's recorded video, we're going to be talking about social economic status. So social economic status is the total measure of an individual's work experience and or family's economic and social position in relation to others. It includes income, education, and occupation. Social economic status affects our society. It impacts physical and mental health of individuals, and low socioeconomic status correlates to lower education achievement, poverty, poor health. Socioeconomic status impacts the lives of children, youth, and families. It impacts psychological health. There are links between lower socioeconomic status and negative psychological health outcomes, and vice versa. There's higher levels of emotional and behavioral difficulties associated with lower socioeconomic status, higher rates of depression, anxiety, attempted suicide, drug dependence, levels of aggression, and elevated rates of morbidity, mortality, and chronic disease in lower socioeconomic status populations. Socioeconomic status impacts physical health. There's higher infant mortality. In the United States, babies born to white mothers have an expected mortality rate of 5.35 per 1,000 births, in comparison to babies born to Black mothers have a mortality rate of 12.35 per 1,000 births. There's higher likelihood of being sedentary or lack of neighborhood resources, higher levels of obesity, higher rates of cardiovascular disease. Socioeconomic status impacts the education. With lower socioeconomic status, exposure to adversities are linked to decreased educational success. Often begin kindergarten with significantly less linguistic knowledge, which higher linguistic knowledge is linked to higher success in education. Lower socioeconomic status populations score at least 10% lower than national average in educational exams. They're more likely to be absent, further increasing the educational gap, learning gap, and there are higher dropout rates amongst lower socioeconomic status population. Socioeconomic status impacts family well-being, with lower socioeconomic status populations living in poverty. And poverty is unfortunately, in some cases, a predictor of child abuse, neglect, and substance abuse exposure. With lower socioeconomic status, there is higher domestic crowding, multi-generational families living together. There's more likely to be victims of violence in a lower socioeconomic status family. So socioeconomic status impacts the lives of ethnic and racial minorities. Discrimination and marginalization can serve as a hindrance to upward mobility for ethnic and racial minorities seeking to escape poverty. In the United States, 39% of African American children and adolescents and 33% of Latino children and adolescents are living in poverty, which is more than double the 14% poverty rate for non-Latino, white, and Asian children and adolescents. Minority racial groups are more likely to experience multidimensional poverty than their white counterparts. American Indian, Alaska Native, Hispanic, Pacific Islander, and Native Hawaiian families are more likely than Caucasian and Asian families to live in poverty. And although the income of Asian American families often fall markedly above other minorities, these families often have 4 to 5 family members working, and African American and Latino families are more likely to receive high-cost mortgages than Caucasians. African American employment rates are typically double, or unemployment rates are typically double than that of Caucasian Americans. African American men working full-time earn only 72% of the average earnings of comparable Caucasian men. So as social economic status encompasses not just income, but also educational attainment, financial security, and subjective perceptions of social status and social class. Social economic status can encompass quality of life attributes, as well as opportunities and privilege afforded to people within our society. Social economic status is relevant to all realms of behavioral and social science, including research, practice, and education and advocacy. Something that we need to really understand affects the populations that we are working with in the educational system. Thanks, everyone. See you online.